Hare Krishna. Welcome to our channel, Bhagavad-gita. Here it is, because we have it. Bhagavad-gita as it is, translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and my name is Labanga Latika. We are reading from the 12th chapter, that is called Devotional Service. So it's actually what Bhagavad-gita is all about. We're just coming to it from different angles, but today we will read text 16.
Shri Guru Shri Juta Padakamalang.
So, let's see what we have. I will read the Sanskrit. Because here Krishna, in a series of verses, is describing the qualities or what's special about a devotee. Because we have this experience that sometimes people from different religions are saying, well, my religion, that is the good thing and everything else is wrong or bad. So Krishna is not saying follow a certain religion. He's saying a devotee. So that means somebody who has dedicated their life in love to God. So it's not so much about the tradition, it's more about the depth of that relationship and of that how that person has developed. So here I will read another verse. Anapeksha shuchir daksha udasino gatavyataha sarvarambha parityagi yo madbhakta same priyaha. So each verse ends with that sentence, Yo madbhakta same priyaha. Anyone who is my devotee, he is very dear to me. So the translation is, my devotee who is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities, who is pure, expert, without cares, free from all pains, and not striving for some result, is very dear to me. So all these words we know all the words, but we may not always think about them in the connection with spiritual life and development. Without cares and not striving for some result. Does it mean a devotee is aimless in life? No, but generally in the Vedic sense, when you say striving for a result, it means a karmic result, a result that you build for yourself. And a devotee of Krishna is dedicated to service to God. And in that service, we can see how our Srila Prabhupada came to the West, and he was determined to create a movement to spread God consciousness. And he was not shy to speak about that. We have temples in all the countries, in all the continents, but it's not a materialistic achievement. It's not an ego boost that, oh, I'm so good, I created all of this. It is a service both to God, of course, because all these books, this literature about God, all these temples built for the service of God, they are just meant for God's Krishna's service and glorification. And also it's meant as a facility, because in this world we have to admit that spirituality is rare. Spiritual knowledge is not... That's something Prabhupada would say also. We have all these institutes and universities, but where is the institute or the department that studies spiritual knowledge of the soul? It's simply not there. It's not even considered knowledge. So that is something we're lacking. So Prabhupada was determined to fill that void and to create a structure that would be as accessible as possible. So he's not shy to say, yes, I have determination, I want to achieve these goals, but still that this description fits. Not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. Of course, the ordinary course of activities, you don't take a freight ship from India and land in an unknown place with no money, no connections, and with a plan to start a worldwide movement, because that would be impossible in the ordinary course of activities. But when it's done in Krishna's service, then it's totally something else, because then it all happens under Krishna's energy. Anyway, I will read Prabhupada's purport. Money may be offered to a devotee, but he should not struggle to acquire it. If automatically, by the grace of the Supreme, money comes to him, he is not agitated. Naturally, a devotee takes bath at least twice in a day and rises early in the morning for devotional service. Thus he is naturally clean both inwardly and outwardly. A devotee is always expert because he fully knows the essence of all activities of life, and he is convinced of the authoritative scriptures. A devotee never takes the part of a particular party, therefore he is carefree. He is never pained because he is free from all designations. He knows that his body is a designation. So if there are some bodily pains, he is free. The pure devotee does not endeavor for anything which is against the principles of devotional service. For example, constructing a big building requires great energy. And a devotee does not take to such business if it does not benefit him by advancing his devotional service. He may construct a temple for the Lord, and for that he may take all kinds of anxiety, but he does not construct a big house for his personal relations. So that is a big difference. It looks like a small difference, and in a sense it is, because the activities of spiritual life and material life, they don't need to be so different. So when we look to the other schools of yoga, karma yoga, you do put in some effort. You make some yagyas, you make some sacrifices, you need to put some riches into it, but that is for achieving your own goal in this material world in general. It's also, it also does advance your consciousness, but not completely, because it's not completely a spiritual activity. Jnana yoga means going on the path of knowledge, studying the Vedas, and thus also following the regulations of Jnana yoga, which means a very austere lifestyle. So there you have a very pure mind, pure life, and it gains you also even possibly liberation, but it doesn't take you all the way to Krishna. And yoga, mystic yoga, is, when we think of yoga today, we often think of physical exercises, maybe some breathing exercises and maybe some mantras also. But those are just like the preparation. And mystic yoga is supposed to have the goal of turning inwards and finding Supersoul in his heart and realizing his or her identity in relationship to Supersoul. The fringe benefit of that process means you can gain some mystical power, and certainly you can gain some mystical experience that is very overwhelming, because it's not like anything you could experience normally through your senses of this body. And all of these yoga methods comes to a point where, at that point, where you have achieved the perfection in your particular yoga system, you turn to Krishna. The risk is, though, that you get to you start to identify with that path of yoga, and you may not realize that the goal of all yoga is to realize your spiritual identity, which is always different from this body and from the activities of the body or the mind, or even the mystical results achieved by jnana yoga meditation. So bhakti aims for that, for directing the soul to that actual reality. There is no... in the Bhagavatam it says Kaitava Dharma, all the cheating religion is kicked out. Because sometimes religion can be a little bit, carrot and stick. We want people to start their spiritual process. But even people who may not be fully mature in their desire, who may not have that sense of that priority of spiritual realization. So we do religion because it's to be part of the community, or to gain, be able to go to heaven. But within Christianity, because I haven't studied it deeply, and I hope I don't want to misrepresent it, because I am quite sure that all the religions, Prabhupada put an emphasis on that. We respect all religion because they all come from the same God. But sometimes the general idea of religion is that you live a good life in this world, you do what is good, what you're supposed to do, then you can go to heaven. And when heaven is described, it's described as a very beautiful place where there is no suffering and where everything is very nice. But what do we do there? And who is God and what's our relationship to him? That's it's not elaborated on. Whereas within Krishna consciousness, that is the point we start. We hear about Krishna, we hear about his world. We develop a desire to connect to him. And we take up a process to connect to him. And here Krishna is describing a person who has made some advancement on that path. And that advancement means some realization of the fact that I'm not this body. So therefore, all the worries of this body, they go away. So of course, everybody who has started the path is not on this level. That is also natural. When you start something, means you're not perfect. But there is a built-in possibility for perfection on that path. So this devotee is not dependent on the ordinary course of activities. It's not under the stringent laws of this material existence. It's not under the laws of karma in that sense. Pure, so keeping the consciousness pure, keeping the body pure. Prabhupada goes down to the basics also. If you want to have a pure consciousness, then you also want your life to be kind of pure. We avoid some sinful activities. We keep clean. We absorb the mind in the sound of Krishna's name and in the knowledge of the scriptures. So that's the purification, both on the inside and on the outside. Expert. So if you know Krishna, you kind of know everything. Because you take those. We're all doing that. We're all taking directions from Supersoul in the heart. But Supersoul doesn't overstep our reach out, our desires. So if we are not reaching out for Krishna, then Supersoul will just guide us in fulfilling our own desires within the boundaries of our own karma. But if somebody is able to fully shift their focus and realize their spiritual identity as servants of Krishna, then Krishna will respond to that. And there will be nothing impossible for such a person. Not because that person becomes so great, but because by depending fully on Krishna, Krishna is fully dependable. So everything is there in his service. Without cares. And then also the response from the devotee is such that I will try to do my service, I will try to do my best, and whether I succeed or not is up to Krishna. So the result, Krishna says that also in the Bhagavad-gita, you have a right to perform your duty, but you do not have a right to the result. So a devotee isn't really going for a result. It's going for the goal of pleasing Krishna, and Krishna will be pleased with that service. And that, I mean, it lifts such a weight from your shoulders when you realize this universe is not one big chaos and if I don't hold everything together, it will crash down around me and everything will be hopeless. The universe is not a big chaos. It is held in the hand of the Supreme. And we may not fully understand how everybody is wandering here, searching for their desires, achieving, receiving their karma. And all our paths are crossing in such a way that it's a little mystical. When you think about it, it's like a miracle in and of itself. And also for Krishna, it is not difficult for him to give such a path for his devotee that they can, in a natural way, come closer to him in this world. Free from all pains. So, yeah, we have a ways to go. But when you realize you're not this body, then if the body is experiencing some pain and suffering, it doesn't touch the soul. This is for me mostly a theory. Like if I stub my toe, I will definitely cry out. If I go to the dentist, I will definitely get all the anesthetics I can get. Because, I don't like to have pain in my teeth. But it is still a reality. It is still something that is there, and it's a gradual thing. Like with pride also, if somebody offends me by saying that I'm stupid or ugly or something like that, well, stupid or ugly, my body may be stupid or ugly, or not, whatever. Either way, it's not me. It's like my car. My car is good enough, it drives. It's not particularly new, it's not particularly beautiful. So if somebody would come and say, oh, your car is old and ugly, and I'm saying, my car is taking me where I want to go. And I will not be offended because I am not that car. And to some extent, I will also not be offended if somebody is criticizing my bodily identity, because I am not this body. Of course, we have a ways to go. We always have a ways to go. And not striving for some results. Well, we spoke about that. As a devotee, we want to offer our service to Krishna. We make some plans. Like Prabhupada wanted to make a worldwide movement with temples in every town and village. Maybe not, but at least the holy name should be heard in every town and village. He would send his devotees to all the corners of the world and make plans and discuss and manage and train up his disciples. So that is a result, but it's not it's not a result that, oh yes, I am so great, I have a worldwide movement. It was interesting. Yes, we have the internet, we have the Facebook. I was just watching a discussion where somebody took the example of a very learned person, and he would come to the different places, and then his entourage would be there before him and beat on the drum and pronounce to everybody, now this most learned person's come, you will have the opportunity to hear his discourse, aren't you lucky? And then a little child stood up and he held up a hand full of sand and said, how many grains of sand is in my hand? If you know everything, because that was his name, Sarvagya knows everything, then you would know that, right? And this learned person said, oh, now you are my teacher, because I shouldn't be so proud of my knowledge. And then somebody directly said, well, Prabhupada, when he once had somebody asked him a question like that, how many windows are in the Empire State Building? Something really irrelevant. And Prabhupada didn't say, oh, now you are my teacher. He said, how many drops of water is there in a mirage? So, because Prabhupada was not putting himself forward like I am the best and most learned and I know everything. Prabhupada put himself forward, I am the servant of Krishna. And my service to Krishna is to connect you to Krishna. So if you have any questions in regards to connecting to Krishna, then Prabhupada would have the answers that he had learned from his spiritual master. And he could be quite sharp and cutting also if somebody presented some idea that was not really what Krishna is putting forth. But on his own personal behalf, he'd say, I'm just a servant. Whatever success I have, it is due to the mercy of my spiritual master. I'm following his instruction, and therefore things are happening. My spiritual master is there, Krishna is there. So that is the difference between a devotee and somebody who may do the exact same things, but with a different motivation. So that is what we're looking at. We're looking at the heart. Fortunately, though, we don't have to start off being perfect. We have a process, we practice, we desire more and more to come closer to Krishna. But here Krishna is describing that devotee who is very dear to him. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama.